All right, so I think we are now live, which is exciting. I'm live now with Julie Christine, as we know her on social media, um, and I just kind of want to give a little bit of a background of why I wanted to interview Julie. So first of all, welcome, Julie.
Hi, Sean. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. So giving everybody a little bit of a background, Julie is a UFE pro in Glamour and Bikini, is it?
Yep.
Yeah, so a dual pro. So that's first off, but you know, not too many people know too much about me, but I'm one of those people who's like obsessed with anti-aging, and I don't like the thought of getting older. And when I'm at the gym, I hear guys grumble that, hey, when you're my age, you're going to have these aches and pains. And there's still this thing in a lot of people's minds that age just equates to less energy, less vitality, all this kind of stuff. Now, when I see Julie, I'm always just uplifted, whether it's her posts or just walking by her and she's helping, the show with tanning. There's this just vitality and energy and excitement. And when I see you compete, you're just eating up the stage. And I don't think I've seen too many people with more energy and vitality than you. And you're now 46 years of age. And it just seems like you haven't missed a step.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, so you're pretty incredible in my eyes, and just the energy and enthusiasm you bring to the stage, and you just seem high on life now. I don't know if you go home and cry yourself to sleep every night, but at least from my perspective, from the outside looking in, I'm like, this person is amazing, and I just wanted to know a little bit more about you.
Thanks so much, Sean.
Yeah, so those are kind of my own purposes, and I think for women, our fastest growing segment of women joining the shows are women 40 plus, which is amazing. I think more and more women are saying, hey, I'm not too old to compete. I can do this. So that's fantastic. But there is still a large segment of people who say, oh, I can't compete with, the 20-year-olds or the 25 or even the 30-year-olds. And I still hear it among active competitors. But the interesting thing is you earned pro status at 43 years of age, right?
I did.
So, yeah, I'm pretty impressed. So I'm going to get right into the questions and allow you to kind of expand on yourself and let us get to know you. You didn't get into fitness competitions until you were 40, which is pretty awesome. Like, some people are like, oh, that's too old to be competing, and here you are just starting at that time. So what sparked your interest? And then let us know if you were actually even into fitness before that.
So I was turning 40, and I wanted to get in the best shape of my life. So I hired a coach. I hired Michelle Loss, and decided that I'd start getting into the best shape of my life so that I could make 40 easier. And everything I was doing was pretty on parallel with what a fitness competitor would do as far as prepping for a show. So after talking to Michelle quite a bit, and I have a bit of a background with the stage. I was a dance instructor for years. I was a competitive dancer my whole life until I became an adult. And I thought, well, I could bring dance, so love of the stage, and fitness, my new lifestyle, together. And I decided that I was totally into this, and I was like hooked. Like, I can't even tell you. I love the idea of setting a goal and watching myself progress and actually reach the goal. It was quite a high, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, awesome. And then like I said in our kind of intro there, it definitely shows.
Thank you.
So, like, you pretty much destroyed the belief that some people still hold that women kind of age out after 40, and some even believe 35, which is incredible to me. But you earned your pro card at 43 years of age.
Yeah.
And then just to put this in perspective, UFE has shows all around the world. We have over 20 shows a year. We've got shows through our affiliate in Australia. We're growing. And around the world, we only have 120 pros. So you earn pro status at 43 years of age. What would you say to the person thinking in their head, hey, I can't compete at a high level. I'm not 20 anymore.
Oh, you know what? I mean, you hear people say 40 is the new 20, but you know what? 40, I think my 40s have been the best years. And you know what? You have the mindset, you have the discipline. 40 doesn't really mean anything anymore. I mean, it's only as old as you feel. And I plan on competing as long as I can. And if that's into my 50s, then it's into my 50s. I mean, I don't think 40 is the same as it used to be. I mean, I'm going to be 46 in September. And I think women should give it a try. And age doesn't mean anything. I love the fact I get on stage with 20-year-olds. I welcome 20-year-olds to get on stage with me. I think it's awesome. I'm like, bring them on. Let's go. I like the competition. I think it's healthy. I think it's fun. And you know what? We're all the same on stage. I mean, we all went for that goal and we all accomplished it. And whether you're 20 or whether you're 40 or whether you're 60, I mean, look at we have some pros that are like in their 50s, even 60s,
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. Age means nothing. So go for it.
Awesome. Yeah, I like that attitude. Now, those of you or those people who don't know, like you're a police officer and police officers, one of the things that I think kind of sucks about being a police officer is shift work.
Yeah.
I don't know how yours worked, but I know there's like a 7 to 7 on days and a 7 to 7 in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And you earned your pro status right in the peak of being a police officer and working these shifts. And we've got people that are a lot of people make excuses for dieting, just period. So how did you do it working these crazy shifts? For example, when you're on a 7 at night to 7 in the morning, how are you getting these workouts in and planning your prep?
Yeah, it was tough. So for me, I've been a police officer for 27 years. And for the past 12, I've been a sergeant. So I was on the road for a lot of those 12 years as a road sergeant. And my shift started at 4:30 in the morning till 4:30 at night on day shifts. And then I'd switch over from 4:30 at night till 4:30 in the morning. So getting up, some mornings I'd be getting up at 3 in the morning, most mornings, get up at 3 in the morning, get ready, go to work, commute to work 12 hours, and I don't need to tell you what kind of a job being a police officer is. Everybody sees it in the media, busy for 12 hours. And then, I mean, how bad do you want it, right? So I'd finish my shift at 4:30. I'd go up to the gym because most of the stations have gyms in them. And I'd go up and I'd do my hour and a half workout. And sometimes I'd have an hour and a half of cardio and 45 minutes of weights. And, it just, how bad do you want to do it? And if you're driven enough to do it and it's your passion, like it is for me, you find the time, you make the sacrifice and you get it done.
So how do you shift that over if you're working 4:30 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon, which is like, I guess that one's not too crazy, but vice versa, the 4:30 in the afternoon to 4:30 in the morning, like how do you do that when you're trying to do your meal prep and especially like when you're first just switching over to that shift, like how does that work?
It's tough because, the older you get, the harder shift work is. And, I'd either work 4:30 to 4:30, 5 to 5, or 7 to 7. And, when you're getting up at 3 in the morning, you got to go to bed at 8 at night, 9 at night. So really your whole day consists of getting up, going to work, prepping your meals, making your lunch, doing your workouts, going to bed. That's all you pretty much do for 4 days, right? So, you know, I'm lucky I have an adult son who's, you know, not small, and I need to tend to him so much anymore. Obviously, he's out and grown and doing his own thing. So, yeah, it's just, you know, prioritizing and, you know, getting the stuff done that you got to get done, and in the time you have to do it, which isn't a lot, you know, you just make it all fit in the day. So.
Absolutely. No, it's just impressive how you are able to do that, for sure. So now you're going to be training. You're obviously training for the UFE World Championships.
I am.
So that's pretty exciting. You know, everybody's got their own nutritional strategy. We interviewed Ashley not too long ago. She had some interesting takes on nutrition and on training. What is your overarching nutritional philosophy?
You know what? I'm a big believer in, I mean, you got to eat. I never prescribe to this whole theory of starving yourself and doing this in an unhealthy way. I mean, competing is such an extreme sport. Like, really, it is. You go from, you know, one to the other, and you deplete yourself so much to get yourself ready. And you know, I try to make sure that my diet is, you know, like I'm fueling my body. And yeah, towards the end, you got to cut some corners. You got to, you know, you got to buckle down a little bit and stuff. But because, you know, this is a natural federation and we're so careful about what we put in our bodies. We care about what we put in our bodies. I'm not about to starve myself, starve my girls, do any of that to get the conditioning or the leanness that we want. You just take the time, take the weeks, you know, and do it properly. You know, you don't need to make yourself sick when you compete. There's a way to do it to be healthy and still succeed, right? So for me, that's the way we do things, and that's the way that I will always do things. So
we are, what are we now? Like, are we 16 weeks from the show?
15, I think.
15.
We're 15. So yeah, I think it'll be 14 this Saturday. So I actually have it 102 days till pro day.
Nice. So give us an example. Like, are your meals pretty much the same every day?
Every day for 2 weeks. So my meals will be the same every day for 2 weeks. I eat 6 times a day. You know, I have a couple liters of water a day. I make sure, you know, high protein. I'm still getting the carbs in. Cardio's not crazy, but heavy weight training. And then, you know, after my check-in this week, I don't know what's going to happen. I kind of have to just wait and see with my coach. But yeah, I mean, it's not about restricting yourself too much. Obviously, no sugar, no salt, none of that stuff. And following, you know, it's 100% compliance. You know, you can't compete and you can't diet with, you know, 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You either got to be all in or all out, you know, and because you can guarantee that if you've got 1 foot in and 1 foot out, there's one girl on stage that's going to have both feet in and she's going to kick your butt on stage. So, you know, you kind of have to make sure that you know, you're compliant and you follow what your coach says. It's super important for success anyway, right? Yeah,
absolutely. So can you give us an example? Like, what did you eat today?
Well, I just ate before I got home here. So like in the morning I had like egg whites and oats. And, you know, I'm one of those people, I make protein waffles. I'm all about waffles in the morning. So, you know, oats and egg whites and some cinnamon, and I make my waffles. And, you know, I have that Walden's sugar-free, zero syrup, whatever it is. And, you know, and then I have, you know, chicken and then veggies and steak and rice. And then I just had chicken and sweet potato and protein shake after my workout. And then I have cardio to do later. I'll go for a run. And yeah, and then I'll have some eggs and egg whites and eggs before I go to bed. And, you know, I have 6 meals a day, and it's the same thing every day. It just, until my next check-in, and then I don't know what I'll get. It's just going to depend on my progress, right? And how I've done over these past 2 weeks.
Now, do you find ways, like I know you mentioned the Walden syrup there to make those pancakes or waffles taste good. But do you, throughout your prep, do you kind of just grit and bear it knowing that there's a reward in mind, or do you have any techniques to keep things kind of interesting along the way?
No, you know what? I can't really think. You know, I've actually I bought one of those ice cream makers that I actually poured a protein shake into.
Okay.
And it didn't work too bad. You know, there's some things that you can do depending on what, you know, you have, you know, your coach has given you. I've made frozen chocolate bars out of protein powder and almond milk and peanut butter. And I bought a mold on Amazon and I made a chocolate bar. And that's my protein shake with my teaspoon of peanut butter at the end of the day. So, you know, you got to kind of, I'm good with eating bland food, but sometimes it kind of makes you feel like you're having a treat when you really aren't. But, you know, you do what you can to get through it.
Absolutely. Now we had Robb Stark come on last week, and he basically has a very unique philosophy of you know, basically no carb loading or depletion, no manipulating water, no manipulating sodium, any of that stuff.
Wow.
Do you do any of that in peak week?
I do all of that.
You do all of it?
I do all of that. Well, maybe not so much the salt manipulation, because the salt is gone from my diet. I don't do well with salt to begin with. So for me, we, you know, water loading, absolutely. Carb depletion, absolutely. And then cutting back on the water, and then or cutting down and eliminating water. Because of my body type and how I hold water, I have to deplete for 24 hours before I hit stage. I don't have water 24 hours before that. Because for me, I'm that person that just can't hold, I hold water. I keep it all and I don't want to give any of it up. So, you know, it's taken a couple years to figure it out. I don't know, maybe that is the 40s kicking in. Maybe it's just me. But yeah, I definitely water loading, carb depleting, carb loading, all of that. So yeah, definitely.
So you started competing at 40, and now we're at 46. Have you noticed any changes to the way your body responds to things? Does it respond just as well? Do you find you just need to change things up? Or has it been just fine this whole time?
You know what? It's kind of, for me, I need a longer prep. I don't do a 12-week prep. For me, I need an 18-week prep, and I found that out last year. So the difference for me and how I came in last year for Mayhem and then I came in for Worlds 2 weeks later was like two different body types. So this year, learning what I learned from last year, or learning what we learned from last year, I started prep when all the Mayhem girls started. So 16 weeks out Mayhem, I start, and then I will prep as if I'm going into Mayhem, which I'm not, but I will then hit the stage for Worlds. But I'll have kind of repeated everything over the process of 2 weeks, because my body just responds better that way. It likes to have a little practice run first.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So basically, you've alluded to that. You've kind of learned what your body likes the best, but do you find it responds the same way it did? Like if you want to try, you know, depleting your water at the end or loading your carbs in peak week, does your body respond just as well now as it did when you were 40?
No, I think it responds better now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because again, it's trial and error. And I mean, you can't do the same thing, and the same thing doesn't work for everybody. And, you know, having a coach, and I'm sure Rob talked about this last week, having a coach that knows what works for you is super important, because what works for me is not necessarily going to want what works for the next girl. So you can't do the same thing. I think every prep is different. We've tried different loading techniques with me, whether it be fat loading, carb loading, and we always come back to the same one. But as I've gotten older, it seems to work, which you would think you'd be a little more stubborn as you get older. My body seems to be going backwards, so I'll take it.
You're getting younger.
Apparently, I don't know.
We found the fountain of youth over there. I get, okay. So the last thing is like we said, you're getting ready for the World Championships. Now, you competed last year. What do you feel are the biggest areas, or even if it's just a singular area, what do you feel are the areas or area that you needed to improve most on after last year?
Well, you know what? I think I think for bikini, it's always conditioning, right? It's always to be better conditioned. And I always love the judges' reports. I order them every time. I don't understand people that don't get them, because these are the people that are going to place you. So why do you not want to know what they think? I don't know. As soon as I get to the judges' report, I send it to my coach and say, Michelle, this is what they said. This is the goal for next year. So this year, my goal was to work on my conditioning. I came in really good conditioned for Worlds, but you can always come in better. Glamour, wow. My costume this year is going to be off the hook. So as far as, the judges, again, bring the same caliber of costume. Well, to me, I'm just going to bring a better costume. So, for Glamour, it's always about outdoing what you did last year as far as costume. You can't just come with the same kind of idea. You got to think outside the box, and you got to get something a little more original, something, that's going to catch the judges' eyes. But again, I'm going to work on conditioning, and that seems to be the, kind of the common theme. And that's understandable. And that's something you can totally control. So if they're giving you that.
So what will be different this year than last year? Are you upping your cardio? Or are you cutting more carbs? What are you doing?
I think we're going to cut carbs a little sooner this time. And I also think that we're going to cut water a little sooner this time. And different intensity of cardio. Cardio for me has always seemed to be steady state. Has worked for me with some HIIT in there. Now I find that the running, the jogging, the running for, 30 minutes, more of a distance run is more beneficial to me. Again, works for me, may not work for somebody else, but for me, the running seems to bring me into a better condition, because when I came into Worlds last year, the last 2 weeks, I ran, and the difference was pretty significant. So starting that out at the beginning this time, and we'll see what happens. I'm pretty excited to see how this hard work is going to pay off in 102 more days.
Absolutely. So we've got Monica who's online now, and she basically says, how many competitions do you think it takes someone to learn what works best for their body? And judging by your answer, it seems like the learning process pretty much never stops.
I don't think it ever stops. And because I don't think every prep is the same, because your body, especially as a woman, I can't speak for men, but as a woman, I mean, your hormones change, things change, and it's not going to be the same thing every single time. I mean, this is going to be, I think, my 10th show. And I just feel like that, we're still making changes. There's nothing that's ever been the same. I mean, maybe some of the same things have happened, but you're always tweaking things. And again, that's why the judges' reports are so important, because, you know what you got to focus on for next year. So I'd like to say it's an easy answer, but I think people have an expectation they're going to go into the first show and they're just going to nail it because their prep's going to be perfect. That's not always the case. So
yeah. Now we got a comment from Linda Carroll. Simply, Julie, you're fabulous.
Oh, thank you.
Now is Linda your mother? Like, I thought I saw something like that on Facebook. Yeah. And she seems to be like your biggest supporter. She comes out to all the shows and stuff, and it's pretty awesome. How does that feel, having your mom there at all the shows?
Oh, it's great. It's always nice to have lots of people there, and it's nice to have lots of people in your corner. And, the louder they can be and the more you have, more of your girls you have there, it's always nice to have the support. And, you always appreciate people taking time to come and support you. And because it is a long journey, and it's nice for everybody to see how well you've done and to celebrate your success of getting to the stage, regardless of how you place. It's always nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the philosophy on a lot of things, and something actually I wanted to follow up with on the judges' reports. I thought that's very good advice too, because I think we notice overall it's actually trending a little higher. I think we've got about 60% of competitors who order those judges reports.
Good.
But it really should be, you know, unless you think you've got everything perfect, it pretty much should be 100, because these are the judges that have sat down and instead of, you know, your buddy from grade 6 or your mom or your dad saying, hey, you were the best on stage and everybody else sucked.
Of course you are.
You know, these are the people with experience who are going to tell you, hey, here's what we saw that you did great. Here's what you saw that did bad. So I think that's fantastic advice for everyone. And it seems like you've taken it each time and tried to implement it into whatever you do. So
yeah,
I think that's why you kind of, well, that's why you are where you are. So
yeah,
it's awesome. Yeah. So now, anything else you want to kind of say about your prep for the World Championships? And
you know, I've just been looking forward to this. This is my favorite time of year. You know, people say, oh, well, how are you doing it in the summer? And there's so many things to do. And again, you know, competing's not for everybody, but I love it. And I look forward to this time every year. And yeah, I'm just gone through my checklist of everything I need to do. My hotel's booked, everything's done.
Nice.
So I'm super excited. So, you know, I look forward to all my training, and I look forward to, you know, the show and the build up to the show. And I love promoting it and promoting UFE. And I mean, best organization out there. And for anybody who's maybe watching or thinking about competing, you know, I can't even describe what UFE is, and it's a family. You know, I have a lot of opposing clients that come see me, and you know, that have never competed with anywhere or competing with UFE for the first time. And I said, you are going to notice a substantial difference in this show and backstage, and it's a family. You know, so yeah, it's I'm really looking forward to this year. I'm really looking forward to World. So I'm
nice. So I don't know how much of your journey you document on Instagram though, but we've put your Instagram handle up there at Glitterfly22. So for all those who are interested in following your journey, definitely check it out at Glitterfly22.
Thank you.
And yeah, last comment, I guess, before we get off, unless anybody else has a quick question to slip in there. Caroline watching you from across the pond there in England. Wow, you so organized.
I am. Thank you, Caroline. I am organized. I'm one of those people that gets organized right away. So when Sean, you advertised about the group rate for the pros to get in on, me and a couple of the other girls registered, bought our memberships. That was at the beginning of the year. I think it was February or something. We did that as soon as you posted about the hotel booking, done that, booked with Louise already, my suit, my glamour costume, everything's done. Like, I think it's really important, because being stressed out is not what you want to be when you're prepping. It's hard enough to prep. You don't need to worry about all the other stuff. So get that out of the way, and then you can just focus on, you know, getting your body where it needs to be.
Yeah. So. And I'd say to Caroline's point there, to be a top athlete, you know, you need to be organized, whether it's, you know, food prep. A lot of people are, you know, prepping their food for 4 days at a time or even a whole week at a time, organizing your training, keeping track of how much you're lifting, how much volume you're doing each workout. So yeah, it's definitely, I think that's advice to anyone who wants to compete at a high level in anything, is you've definitely got to be organized.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Julie, good luck at the UFE World Championships. As you say, it's just 102 days away. You know it even better than I do.
I know.
All right. Anybody has any questions? This is going to stay on Facebook and on YouTube, so just comment under there, and I'm sure either Julie, myself, or other people will get involved in the discussion and join you. And thanks again, Julie.
Thanks a lot, Sean. Okay. We'll see you soon.
Have a good night.
You too.